All right, welcome to Ask Lee Anything, where today we're going to break down any questions that we have. If you like what you see, please subscribe, share, pass this bad boy along. Let's dive in. The flow from here to here and here to here, there's going to be one thing that is absolutely true most of the time. You will get objections. And objections are the questions in the mind of the consumer. But the skill of a salesperson is it an objection or is it a condition? And a condition is a matter of facts you could do nothing about. If I don't break even, I'm not selling. Well, can you afford to stay where you're at? Yeah. Okay, so then what was the whole purpose of selling? If we could do it, we'll do it. If not, we're completely good with it. So like what I hear you saying is there's absolutely no reason that you really need to move. No, not at all. Well, what are you going to manipulate them? Whereas if they're like, hey, we live in a studio and I'm pregnant with twins. Break even isn't part of this equation right now. There's absolute motivation and need to make the move, but that's where your conversation comes in as you're going through here. Like nobody's going to just lay up. Everyone's going to have an objection of some sort, which is a question. Can I get my price? How long of a listing will you take? What's the market conditions? Questions in the mind. How many homes have you sold? How long have you been in the business? These are objections, questions in the mind of the consumer. And then the key here is that you get really good at handling everything that somebody's going to say to you. Which is why it's so commendable that you're playing in the sandbox without knowing how to handle any of the objections, just literally boxing matches. You say this, I say this. Your husband. It's beautiful. It's amazing. So as we flow down, there's the next part, and it's called prequal or prequalify. When we're having a conversation, there's a list of questions or a dialogue that puts you in alignment with deciding if they're a lead and whether or not you want to set an appointment. The default is I'll only set appointments with people that lay up. Like, yeah, I'll talk to you, versus adjusting and changing how we speak, faster or slower, to align with whoever it is that we're speaking to so they feel comfortable enough to set an appointment. And then you qualify the appointment, and then you prep, and then you sit. And that's the process. That's the model. This time period should be 2 to 3 days from when you set an appointment until you sit on the appointment. Now, the reason is because there's a model or a process to go through. I mean, technically, it's 2 to 3 days from when you qualify the appointment. And there's 5 things that you want to do between the moment you decide you're going to sit on the appointment until we actually sit on the appointment. So here's the 3 questions we want to know. Why are you selling? When do you want to sell by? And what happens if you don't sell? But it's not a question that you ask. It's a conversation to have them answer it. So what happens if they don't move to Chicago? Hold on. So what you're saying is that if you're missing your front teeth, you would go as soon as possible. Like right now. Like you would leave work. Nothing else would be a priority. Does this make sense? Well, husband not meeting and attending doesn't sound like ASAP. 1 + 1 isn't 3. Which is why this and this are so important. Are you sure you have rapport? And that's the obstacle right now, is that you may think you're having a conversation that's moving somewhere and she's just yesing you to get off the phone. I'm not saying that's the case. I'm simply saying that if somebody absolutely needs to move and they weren't expired, something's not adding up. Somebody wants to sell, somebody doesn't want to sell, or we haven't conveyed the message of the process. again, you just don't know what you don't know. We're talking through the process. All good, right? Which this is the process. This is the process. With the phone, less is more. We don't talk about schools. We don't talk about price. We don't talk about commission. We don't talk about values. We get, why are you selling? When do you want to sell by? What happens? Let's meet. How much do you charge? That's exactly why we're meeting, so we could go over that. What do you do to sell homes? I know that knowing what I do to sell homes is important to you. I will be sending over a package of information prior to our appointment on Wednesday, and it'll be one of the first things we talk about when I come out. How long have you been in the business? I know that's important to you, and nobody wants to waste anyone's time. And so, if you knew that meeting with me would be the best thing for you and your husband to meet Chicago, does it matter how long I've been in the business? If I have an absolute system that a professional coach and I have gone through, wouldn't you want to at least see it rather than know how long I've been in the business? Because me and my team been in the business 20 years. So there's your answer.